Good morning. My name's Kim Feiner, and I'm running for Florida House District 81. Today I want to talk a little bit about that holding facility in the Everglades for our immigrant neighbors. I refer to it as a concentration camp. My opponent took offense at me using that terminology, but if you go into the dictionary and look up the definition of concentration camp, it describes exactly what we have going on in the Everglades in Florida. This is a facility that is meant to house individuals that are basically incarcerated for who they are, not what they've done. And this identified group would be, of course, those individuals that are perceived as illegal immigrants. Now, we hear all about the fact that they are just felons. No, that is not true. We know the numbers. 70% or less have never been convicted of anything. If there are any felons in there, it's a very small proportion of individuals. So we're incarcerating individuals for who they are, and we're doing that under the guise of an emergency. And so the Florida governor, as well as the federal government, has determined indeed there is an emergency regarding individuals that have come to this country and are undocumented. Now, do we know what's going on in there? We have absolutely no idea because nobody's allowed to get in there to check it out. There are Florida legislators that have tried to go, that have been turned away. Sometimes they have been allowed in, but usually there's a little preparation going on to stage the scenario before those individuals are allowed in. Are they getting the food that they need? Are they getting the accommodations that they need? Are they getting the health care that they need? And we know that no, they aren't, because we've heard of a number of deaths around the country in these various camps, if you will. Now, who's responsible? Who's accountable for this situation? Well, the state of Florida says the federal government says the state of Florida. The state of Florida says they're going to be reimbursed by the federal government because it's all about the federal government. So nobody's going to take responsibility. And we have to ask the question, are those individuals in these facilities being accommodated regarding the rule of law and due process? And again, it's hard to get at the truth in this particular case because you hear a variety of things, but the things you're hearing would suggest that no, they're not being provided with their legal accommodations that they are deserving of. I had 4 uncles. They served in World War II. 2 of them were in the European theater. Their job was to liberate the camps. Everyone walked away from that saying, oh, we learned our lesson. Never again should we allow this to happen. But in my opinion, this is happening in the United States. If I was in the Florida legislature, I would go about finding ways to prevent this from happening. We need to respect the Native Americans that are in that area because they abut this facility. We need to respect the wildlife in that area because this is an environmental issue. But most of all, we need to respect the individuals that we are, in my opinion, illegally incarcerating. We need to be humans. We need to be humane. Write to your legislators, write to the governor, write to anyone who will listen. These are, or were, our immigrant neighbors. This is not the way you treat other human beings. We need to address this and address it aggressively. And in the meantime, let's move Florida forward together, and that is not achieved by incarcerating our neighbors.